Good morning, Michigan. A very pleasant Friday to you. Everybody's getting a head start on the weekend. I hope you are anyway. You might as well. We only have a couple of them left. Pure Michigan summers before the kids go back to school and everybody gets back into the routine. And, of course, the general election is coming. So for people like Kyle Melinn, the editor of MIRS News, it's going to be a busy time. And it's nice of you to stop here in our Gillespie Group storefront studio. Good morning.
Good morning, Michael Patrick. It's my pleasure.
Thanks. A little bit of gossip. I shouldn't call it gossip because it's really not gossip. It's the machine of politics.
Rumors.
What goes on? Okay, rumors, gossip, what have you, about the running mates for Rick Snyder. There seems to be a lot of action. A lot of names are suddenly bubbling to the surface. Can we go through some of them?
Well, yeah, absolutely. It looks like the names for lieutenant governor are all on the west side right now. There's a focus on actually folks who have been in the Senate or are in the Senate right now. On the top of the list, Senator Patty Burkholz from Saugatuck, Wayne Kuipers from Holland, Bill Hardeman from Grand Rapids, and then the former Senate Majority Leader Ken Sikma, who's from Wyoming, Granville area there. There's also a new name that's been added to the mix, Brian Calley, state representative up in, Ionia, Portland area.
He's running for state Senate, right?
He's running for state Senate, so if he were picked, then the county chairs, the county Republican chairs and other county Republican officials would have to get together and name a replacement for him on the ballot. So that's a little extra wrinkle.
Wouldn't they likely name the opponent Michael Trabish that he beat in the primary?
They could, or they could go toward a former state representative, let's say Scott Hummel, Judy Emmons. They could pick whoever they wanted to, but they are not bound by any means to Trebish.
Why the focus on West Michigan for a running mate?
Well, it has to do with geographical balance, and it's also about encouraging the conservative base who, by and large, maybe didn't go with Rick Snyder in the primary. There's a lot of conservatives in West Michigan, and they feel like if they can get somebody who is 100% no questions asked pro-life and also meet all the other ticks on the conservative scale on a political sense, they feel like it's an advantage. You know, Rick Snyder has really run a anti-politician campaign up to now. He's run as the outsider. And so they're concerned that if they want to get maybe this Tea Party element excited and involved and make sure they get out to the polls, they need a running mate who will help energize that. And that's why we're looking at West Michigan conservatives right now. And also former senators who bring some kind of government experience to the picture. I mean, the lieutenant governor's job really is to preside over the Senate. I mean, that's all their real job is, and that's not all that difficult. The only time you vote is when there's a tie. And so what you'd really like to have in a lieutenant governor is somebody like John Cherry, somebody who's actually been in the Senate, knows how it works, and can kind of be a liaison for the governor to cut deals if necessary, and all those people have experience.
Why not State Senator Jason Allen?
That's a possibility, but Jason Allen, unfortunately, has gotten a rap from Tea Party folks as being too liberal because of a bill that he introduced that they feel is pro-union, pro-SEIU. They feel like it legalizes a process that Governor Granholm set up that encourages or actually unionized home health care workers. And so they feel he's a little bit too liberal, and they want to encourage Tea Party people to come out and not discourage them. So maybe a role in the administration somewhere for Jason Allen.
Isn't it fair to assume that that the conservatives are going to vote Republican? It's not like they're going to cross over and vote Democrat. So why do you have to worry about appeasing them?
Well, that's a good point, but it's not about if they're going to vote for Rick Snyder, because of course they will. It's about encouraging them and getting them excited and getting them out there to encourage their friends and their relatives and everyone to go out and vote, and also to work or give money to the candidate and to energize them. You know, there's also the possibility if they are not excited about the ticket, they'll stay home. And you don't want that either. That's a problem that Verge Bonero may have. He needs to encourage Democrats and excite them and say, hey, this is going to be a great opportunity for us. Get out to the polls and bring your friends with you.
Why not Terry Lynn Land?
Well, I think Terry Land pretty much went with Mike Bouchard as a running mate, and she has already cast her lot, if you will.
Damaged goods?
Well, I don't know if damaged goods is the right word, but, I mean, she was very vocal for Mike Bouchard during the primary. I guess it's still a possibility, but again, I think he really wants somebody with legislative experience, and she really doesn't have that.
He needs somebody with legislative experience, doesn't he? Or does he?
No, I think he does. I mean, the part of being a good administrator is surrounding yourself with people who have special skill sets. And let's face it, he doesn't have a skill set with the legislature. He doesn't know how it works. So it only makes sense that he would bring in somebody with that skill set to help him out and get done what he needs to get done. I mean, he has a vision of things that he wants, legislative policies he wants, but he has no idea how that would be crafted in a bill and how to negotiate that. And it's very important to have somebody on his team who does.
So he can still be the outsider, the non-politician, with a running mate who knows how the trenches work.
Well, that's actually the best mix, because if you have two business people, let's say, on the ticket, it could get a little hairy. I mean, Jennifer Granholm herself admitted before that it would have helped if she had legislative experience going in, because it is a different beast. I mean, it's not like a board of directors. It's not like dealing with shareholders. These are people with their own constituency who have their own little base of power, and you got to stroke some egos. You got to cut some deals and do some things for them. Stroke some egos. Do what you have to do. It's just a lot different than the business world.
Is there a debate going on about the debates?
There is a debate going on about the debates, and isn't this almost seasonal?
Yes.
It's just silly in and of itself.
Who stands on the right? Who stands on the left? How many questions? How do you respond? Are we down to that sort of brass tacks now?
It could be.
Or how many? I mean, we're just beginning with I heard Mayor Bonero wants 8 and Rick Snyder wants 3.
Yeah, and now Verge Bonero is concerned that Rick Snyder wants 0 and is just trying to duck. But, you know, as silly as it sounds, there is a debate team that actually goes in and negotiates these debates. As you know, and Rick Snyder has his person, and Mark Fox, forgets it. Mark Fox is Verge's person, but they go in there and they negotiate such things as time, place. Because what Rick Snyder does not want is to get caught in a situation like Dick DeVos was caught in a couple of years ago, or 4 years ago, when he was thrown a question in a free-for-all debate, in the first debate, right out of the box, and Dick DeVos just stared at the camera like...
Yeah.
And everybody remembers that. And we don't want that, or the Republicans don't want that for their candidate, because it makes them look foolish. And they just want a forum-type situation where Rick Snyder is comfortable. Remember, Verge Bonero is a real debater. This guy won a state debating championship as a high schooler, okay? So he knows what he's doing. And so they don't want a format that will be advantageous for Verge Bonero as it is. Also, scheduling is important. You know, if you don't want a lot of people to see these debates, schedule them on a Friday, for instance. If you don't want anyone to see them, go up north with them. Do it in the northern Michigan media market where fewer people will see them. See, there's a lot of different tricks you can do to minimize the influence of debates if you don't think your person's going to do well by doing those kind of things.
And I would think, I'm just speculating, that Mayor Bonero would like to have them, on the Capitol lawn at noon on a Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Mayor Bonero said 8 debates. He would do 18 debates, I'm quite sure of it. I mean, there's never a shortage of words with him.
What would happen if Rick Snyder didn't do any debates? Could he get away with that? He doesn't seem to like to answer a straight question, does he?
Well, I don't know necessarily about that. It's just debating is a certain skill. And when you're up on the stage and when the camera's on you, it's a lot different.
You remember Dick DeVos tried to lower expectations before those debates.
Yeah, he did. And Rick Snyder will probably
He didn't lower them low enough.
You know, the thing is, could he get away with not doing debates? He could, I guess. It probably just wouldn't look all that good. You know, he was able to get through the primary with only doing 1 debate. But the other candidates were able to participate, and so there was a debate. I think he would take a lot of heat from newspaper editorials, though, if he tried to dodge the debates. But he could do what Jeffrey Feiger did back in 1998 and try and blame Engler for not doing debates. But then Engler turned around and blamed it on him because Feiger didn't agree to this provision, that provision. So there is a little bit of back and forth that can be exchanged there.
And these are the sort of things that we learn about at MIRS News.
That's correct.
And it's a subscriber-based website for people who just can't get enough politics. They want to know what's going on, and you're the editor.
That's correct.
How do they find it, and what will they find on MIRS?
Well, yeah, they'll find on www.mirsnews.com a daily report on state government and state politics. We usually have 10 to 15 stories every day, Monday through Friday, that deal with what's going on in the legislature, the executive office, and state politics, with the Republican convention right now taking up a good amount of time.
We only have about 40 seconds left, but we haven't talked about possible running mates for Verge Bonero.
Well, he's really limited, I think, to Detroit, Southeast Michigan, and probably an African-American candidate. The Democratic Party is very, very big on racial diversity on their ticket. They don't have an African-American there right now. kind of limits Verge's options. I think he's going to go to either the Detroit City Council for a running mate or maybe Senator Buzz Thomas. If he goes any lower than that as far as like a position, he risks picking someone who doesn't carry a base with them, somebody who doesn't have a ground troop of supporters who can go out and rally people to the polls.
Would they really sacrifice electability in the interest of diversity? You know what I mean. If there were a better candidate.
Yeah, and I think that's why they're trying to get the best of both worlds, which is why I think going to the Detroit City Council ultimately, or Buzz Thomas. I think they have to go there.
Thank you very much for being with us today. It's great to see you.
Hey, it's my pleasure, Michael Patrick.
And we can see him at MIRS. I say MIRS. It's MIRS.
Well,
M-I-R-S.
You know, it's however you want to pronounce M-I-R-S, I guess. Caribbean.
MIRSnews.com. That's where you can find him. And right now, he's on his way to Lake Michigan. Have a terrific trip.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks, Michael Patrick.
Kyle Melinn, the editor of MIRS News. It's Michael Patrick at 18 after the hour.